Today we're taking a look at some new EDC gear. I've got a few pickups that are just new to me, but mostly we're taking a look at some new releases from the past couple of months. Really excited for this one, so let's just get into it. First up, we've got something new from Nitecore. This is the brand new EDC 23 flashlight. The older EDC 27 was one of my favorites. I'm a huge fan of this sort of rectangle form factor in the flashlights. This is the smallest one in the category out of all of the ones I've tested. It measures 4 inches in length, 1.3 inches wide, and 0.9 inches deep. It weighs 100 grams or about 3.56 ounces. And even though they shrunk down the size so significantly, this is still an extremely bright flashlight. It has a max brightness of 2500 lumens in turbo mode. It uses 2 UHI 25 LEDs. You have a few different settings there with a low, medium, and high in the turbo. It is a very familiar layout if you're used to the other Nitecore flashlights. You have a 2-switch design. You also have a dedicated lock switch on here too, which is greatly appreciated. So you're not going to be burning holes in your bags or your pockets anytime soon because that turbo is bright. You have the classic OLED display like the rest of the lineup. I really appreciate this. It'll show the Lumen output as well as the remaining time on the battery in the different modes. It's USB-C rechargeable, IP54 rated. This rectangle style and shape has always been my favorite, but the older EDC 27 was pretty big and unwieldy for me to carry around on a day-to-day basis and definitely overkill. Now this is overkill in the output, but small enough and easy enough to throw into a sling bag or throw into my pocket. You have a great pocket clip on here as well. All in all, zero complaints and really happy with the addition to the lineup. Got a new pocket knife up next. This is the CRKT Q Compact Liner Lock. This just came out last month, I believe. I haven't actually had the chance to test out a lot of the CRKT products. They're actually local to me here in Tualatin, Oregon. Always really cool to be in close proximity to the brands. It's definitely not hard out here in Portland. We have most of the major US knife manufacturers based here with us. Onto the knife though, getting into some of the basics. It is 4 inches in length when closed. Total open length is 6.97 inches. You have a 2.95 inch S35 VN drop point steel blade. It weighs 57 grams or 2 ounces. It's a classic liner lock type of style here. The action is incredibly smooth. They actually prominently featured the designer for this on the page, which I thought was a really nice touch, and I can definitely understand why. It's designed by Richard Rogers. He's a cattle rancher in New Mexico that's actually won a ton of awards over the years. The design for this is absolutely clean and gorgeous. It uses a combination of G10 and aluminum for the scales. There is zero branding on the exterior here as well, which I really appreciate. This is just one of the cleanest looking knives out there. And it still kind of has a little bit more of a tactical edge to it while still being that sort of clean, modern, minimalist type of look. You usually kind of get one or the other. I really like the hybrid look in the design here. That combined with the super smooth action, this is an all-around great piece. I've had a real pleasure testing. Definitely one of the more unique things we're talking about today. This is the Keyport Key Organizer Multi-Tool System. Keyport had reached out to me a little bit ago and asked if I wanted to check these out. I'm a huge fan of key organizers in general. I spent several years trying every single one I can get my hands on and kind of settled on the Gibbon key organizer as my favorite. This was something fresh and new that I hadn't seen before, so I had to take a look. It is a fully modular system that houses both your keys and a ton of different multi-tools. So for the basics, the key organizer aspect of this is very straightforward and very familiar if you've ever used any of the others. But getting into some of the other attachments and accessories and tools I have on here, they have a multi-tool called the Mocha. This has a pry bar, a bottle opener, a wrench, a flathead. Not too different from anything else we've seen from other key organizer multi-tools, but a few other options on here that were just absolutely wild. First module up in the middle, this is called the escape tool. You have a glass breaker as well as a seat belt cutter and a pry bar. On the end, this is called the pocket flare. It's a little flashlight that attaches to the end of it. You have the option of a lamp here at 90 lumens, or you can get up to 33 lumens from the front LEDs. There's so many other attachments available on the website too. You can get a folding knife module to snap onto it. You can get a car key transponder. You can get a USB cable or a flash drive. They have a pocket clip attachment as well. There are a ton of things you can do to customize this. Overall, I have been enjoying using it. I will say though, it is a little unwieldy to use for your actual keys. I would probably find this a little more enjoyable to still keep a separate key organizer and have this all as a separate sort of modular multi-tool system. There are a ton of different face plates that they have available on their website. They're super inexpensive as well. I have a NASA one here. I also picked up one in a zebra wood type of pattern. You can leave it just plain metal as well, or attach on the pocket clip or something where you don't even need any of the face plates, especially if you have the flashlight on the backside. But overall, this was just such a cool idea and definitely something very different in the world of key organizers that I haven't seen before. Really quick though, I want to take a minute to thank VAER for sponsoring this week's video and introduce you to their new G2 Meridian GMT watch. If you're not familiar with GMT watches, they're designed with an additional hour hand to be able to track multiple time zones with the same watch complication. GMTs really became popular in the 1950s for pilots and business travelers. GMT actually stands for Greenwich Mean Time. They decided on using Greenwich Mean Time as the global reference time back in the 1800s when all of the official time zones were set for the globe. The G2 Meridian is a great low-priced entry point into this whole world of GMTs. Getting into some of the basics, it's fully assembled in the USA and it uses a Swiss Ronda GMT quartz movement. The case is a 316L stainless steel with a 39mm case diameter, has a single domed AR-coated sapphire crystal, an aluminum 24-hour bidirectional rotating GMT bezel, 40-month battery life with 150 meters of water resistance, and that's backed by VAER's 2-year waterproof guarantee down to the meter. It's clearly inspired by the classic 1950s Rolex GMT Master and the 1970s Mill Sub. The blue and red split Pepsi bezel looks so great. The watch face is simple and straightforward with a date complication at 6 o'clock. It has really excellent lume too. I have it paired with VAER's premium Jubilee bracelet, which felt fitting for the vintage look. 20mm lug width for the straps and fully compatible with the rest of VAER's strap options too. Great entry price point in the world of GMTs, and I always love to focus on American assembly with VAER watches. Be sure to check the link in the description down below, see it for yourself. Huge thanks again to VAER for sponsoring this week's video. Got some headphones up next. These are the Denon PerL wireless earbuds. I'm always on the hunt for new headphones and audio gear in general. This was a brand I had never heard of before, and they were offering something I've never really seen before either. On the surface, they're pretty straightforward, wireless Bluetooth earbuds, but on the software end of things, they have a system that allows you to customize the sound based on your hearing. They call it adaptive acoustic technology. It's not dissimilar to the new Apple AirPods hearing test, but it's a little bit shorter, and then it takes the results of that and customizes the EQ settings to best fit your ears. I'm someone that's always been extremely sensitive to treble in my headphones. It was really interesting to see that the treble was reduced with my custom profile. Obviously a bit anecdotal, but for me personally, that gave a little bit of extra credence to the viability of that. And aside from the personalized profile, these are probably the best sounding earbuds I've ever tested, just period. They have a really strong, beefy bass presence, but in the most controlled, clean way I've ever heard from any other headphones. The mids and the highs are both really great. You have a ton of really good clarity in the vocals for male vocals and female vocals. Really good instrument separation. I think the big standout for me was that really clean but full bass sound. I just have not really heard anything like it in a pair of wireless earbuds like this. I was really taken aback by it, and these are the regular Denon PerLs. They do offer a Pro version as well. These come out to $179 and the Pros are $299. I can't even imagine how much better those would sound. I think it's mostly about the lossless audio codecs for the step up. That's why I went with the lesser expensive model, but nonetheless, just from a music standpoint, these are the best of the best. They definitely fall from that best category when you get into some of the other features that modern Bluetooth headphones have, but they still hold their own plenty. You have fully customizable touch controls that work really great, 0 complaints there. You have a 6-hour battery on the earbuds and 18 hours from the case itself. They do offer some active noise canceling and a transparency mode. I found both of those to be, adequate. I have much better noise canceling from some of my Soundcore earbuds, and I have much better transparency mode from my Apple AirPods. And I found these to be serviceable, but nothing overly noticeable or special in that regard. But if you're okay forgoing some of the best top tier in those other features that aren't necessarily music listening, I think you're going to have a hard time finding a better sounding pair of headphones than this at this price point without going the route of, wired IEMs or something similar to that. I was really blown away and extremely happy with the sound quality of these. Happy enough that I am willing to forgo my transparency mode on the AirPods Pro or the, noise canceling from the Soundcore Liberty 4 Pros, from time to time just to get the best music listening experience possible. So that's what these offer. I'm definitely going to be digging in more. If you want me to check out the pros as well, let me know. Maybe I'll do a side-by-side or a big headphone roundup type of video. I always love testing this sort of stuff. Something a little bit simpler and fun up next. This is the Marksmith Ultra Fine Titanium Bolt Action Marker. You might all remember a few years ago I talked about the other, bolt action titanium marker from Marksmith. They just recently released and launched their new Finepoint version of this. It's actually on Kickstarter right now. I think there should be a couple of weeks left by the time this video goes live, but I was a huge fan of the original marker and had to get my hands on the Finepoint to test it out and check out. It weighs 42 grams. It's 5.4 inches in length and 13 inches in diameter. It's a little bit less wide than the original, titanium marker that they put out a few years ago. The Finepoint marker tip is 0.85 millimeters. From my understanding, it is a custom cartridge that they're using, but it's also compatible with the Sharpie ultrafine cartridges as well. The bolt action mechanism doubles as the pocket clip. I thought that was a fun sort of 2-in-1 type of design. And the way that they're able to keep the marker point from drying out without a cap, something I honestly didn't even think about with the last one. It's a sort of trap door mechanism. When the bolt action goes up, it kind of seals off that marker point, so you don't need to worry about it drying out just because there isn't a cap to put on. It's a little bit more convenient to use time to time, but definitely a fun, extra, generally unnecessary type of thing. It has a lifetime warranty on it. I was looking through the Kickstarter page as well, and I appreciate the candid nature and awareness that they have with products like this. To quote the Kickstarter, it says, "I could go on and on about what makes the Marksmith Ultra Fine Point better than a cheap plastic marker pen, but you're not here for that. The truth is that the Marksmith Ultra Fine TI is an expensive marker pen that no one needs." It's fun. It's meant for people that appreciate, cool CNC designs and titanium and craftsmanship and stuff like that. Really cool and unique idea. It seems like they're having a really fun time over there putting out these unique designs and products. Happy to share it along. So check out the Kickstarter page if you want to see one for yourself. I've been using it around the office and really enjoying it. One more pocket knife to talk about for the list. This is the Vosteed Corgi Pup. This isn't newly released, but new to me, and I have been using it for actually the past 3 or 4 months now, and am really happy to get a chance to talk about it because it's become one of my favorite knives. Getting into some of the basics, it is 5.93 inches in total length. You have a 2.37 inch S35 VN drop point blade. It weighs 80 grams or 2.8 ounces. It uses something called a Trek lock, which I was not familiar with. Apparently it is a patent pending design from Vosteed. It is a combination of a liner lock, flipper knife, button lock. It kind of offers all of them at once. You're able to open and close it like any flipper knife, but you're also able to open and close it like any button lock knife. I thought it was a great idea. You get the best of both worlds. I tend to prefer flippers, but definitely have button locks that I appreciate too. The flipper mechanism has tabs on both sides as well, which I haven't seen before. You can flip it open like you would any other, but on the other side it almost works like a thumb stud. They actually said that's why they named it Corgi, because it looks like little corgi ears on the top. It uses PEI scales with titanium plate inserts underneath. PEI is essentially like Ultim, but not the name brand. I am a huge fan of the look of this, kind of an encased amber type of look. S35BN is a great choice as well, especially at this price point. Comes in at $99. It's super smooth. It looks great. I love that Trek lock design. Vosteed continues to impress here. It's been a little while while since I've tried one of their knives, but they always bring it when it comes to value proposition for what you're getting. Love to see it. Bit of a niche item up next. This is the Homatics Pocket TV. This is designed to work in conjunction with the several different brands of smart glasses out there. Vitcher glasses or X-Real or Ray Neo or Rokid. You know, if you have any of those, most of the brands have their own individual type of Streambox devices. This is one that's designed to work with any of them in a little bit of a different form factor. I did see as well when I was getting my notes together for this one's branded as Homatics, but it looks exactly the same as the Ray Neo Pocket TV. So I think it's just sort of a white label type of thing. So if you're familiar with the Ray Neo version, it's going to be exactly the same. But in essence, this is a portable battery powered Google TV device for your smart glasses. You have two USB-C ports at the bottom, one to be able to plug in glasses and another one to be able to charge the device, so you can do that simultaneously. You have a 6500 milliamp hour battery in here that will power the glasses as well. 64 gigabytes of internal storage, but you do also have a slot for micro SD expansion up to 2 terabytes, which is really nice. So if you're going, off the grid or on a plane and want to download a bunch of stuff, you can take it to go. Unfortunately, I don't really have a good way to showcase the visuals here through the glasses, but rest assured, it is just a really straightforward Google TV experience on the inside. When I first saw this, I got really excited because it looks like an old iPod. I thought that this would work as a scroll wheel like the old iPods would. It doesn't, unfortunately, but they are really nice tactile clicky buttons here. So it's kind of a tough call for me to make. I think there aren't necessarily any clear winners out there for these devices that are meant to pair with the XR AR glasses. I'm a big fan of the Beam Pro device. I think if you have the X-Real glasses, that's probably the natural obvious choice over this. But if you're using glasses from other brands, I think this would be a really compelling choice. I tend to prefer this form factor a little bit more compared to the neckband that Vitcher offers. I have heard that they have something new down the road, so hopefully I can get my hands on that to test out and see. But I do really like this sort of form factor, and I do think there might be a case compared to the Beam Pro for X-Real folks. If you don't really want the point and click type of mentality, if you want something a little easier that you can just have in your hand and move around with buttons only, you lose out on a bunch of functionality compared to that Beam Pro, and it's only a $20 difference. This is $179 versus $199 for the Beam Pro, I believe. If this was down to like $79 or $99, it might be a really compelling alternative to skip a few features but save some of your money. But otherwise, it was still just an interesting form factor, and I think a benefit to, the non-X-Real, AR, XR glasses users out there, because the form factor is nice. I'm a big fan of the Google TV interface. I really like the expandable storage here. The built-in battery is big and bigger than a lot of other options on the market as well. Definitely worth checking out in a little bit closer detail if you have some of these glasses and are looking for a fresh device to pair with it. But on that note, that is the end of the list today. Like I said, it was a combination of newly released items and just new pickups for me that aren't necessarily new on the market. Really hoped you enjoyed it regardless, though. There were some real gems today, I think. I'd love to hear down in the comments, what you're carrying around with you today. Other videos you might want to see me do in the future. Do you want to do a big headphone roundup or something like I had mentioned? I'd love to hear from you down there. Thank you so much for watching, though, and I'll talk to you in the next one.